Slide 1. Hello, my name is Kelly Erickson. I am currently a student at Liberty University, and I am anticipating a graduation date of August 2015. Slide 2. Today my role will be the Personnel Director for the City of Ditchburn in Southern Florida. I'm going to discuss the necessary appointment of Jose Obradors to the third shift fire dispatch position. I'm also going to highlight certain aspects of the collective bargaining agreement that will support our decision to transfer Mr. Obrador's schedule so that it accommodates the needs of the fire department. And lastly, I will point out the relevant issues maintained in the arbitration hearing that justifies the transfer. Slide 3. Mr. Obradors resides in a city in which 90% of the population is Hispanic. Because of this, it is a requirement of the Ditchburn Fire Department to maintain a specified number of bilingual employees on every shift. When the opening for the third shift came about, no one volunteered. Because of Mr. Obrador's Spanish-speaking abilities, he was transferred to the shift for temporary coverage of 6 months or until a replacement could be found. With respect to the seniority Mr. Obradors has, he was simply transferred because he did not have the language barriers that other possible candidates had. He therefore was the only qualified choice to fulfill the position. Slide 4. As the Personnel Director, it is my responsibility to see to it that every employee that works for the city is competent and can communicate with our community. It is essential at times to make difficult decisions that may put some burdens on employees for the betterment of our city. The decision to transfer Mr. Obradors to another shift was out of necessity and not a punishment. Even though Mr. Obradors has seniority over some of the other employees, the decision was based upon the urgent need of a bilingual communicator. In past situations, we have had junior employees such as Mr. Obradors get promoted over other employees with more seniority due to language ability. It should also be noted that in order to prevent this from occurring again in the future, it is now the hiring policy of Ditchburn that all new fire dispatchers will be bilingual. Slide 5. In the contract provisions under Article 6, it states that the management has a right to assign work and overtime to hire, examine, classify, promote, train, transfer, assign, and schedule employees in positions with the city. Section 4 states the department or division head reserve the right to final determination regarding employee transfer, shift assignment, days off, and vacation time. Also provided in the contract under Section 5 is the agreement that the delivery of efficient, effective, and courteous manner is of paramount importance. Additionally, the decision to transfer Mr. Obradors did not violate Article 10, no discrimination. The decision was solely based upon his ability to communicate effectively with the community that speaks predominantly Spanish. There was no relevancy to the nationality of Mr. Obradors. Slide 6. In October of 2013, Robert De Leon filed a lawsuit against the company in which he was employed for 28 years for discrimination. Mr. De Leon is a Hispanic male of Mexican descent. He was placed in a lateral position involuntarily and without compensation. The work he performed was the same, but the environment was more dangerous and very unhealthy. He asserted that the transfer was a deliberate attempt to set him up to fail. To the date, this case is still pending after the Court of Appeals overturned the original ruling of no discrimination. I would like to compare the situation to that of Mr. Obradors. Yes, his move was also lateral, but unlike Mr. De Leon, it was temporary. And the move had the same type of work and level of danger as his other position. Mr. Obradors was not subjected to an unhealthy environment, and he had been offered compensation and will be able to retain his position once the assignment has been completed or filled by another associate. As we have an urgent need for the position to be filled, we would like for both parties to compromise so that this does not develop into a long drawn-out process as it has for Mr. De Leon. We would like to find some common ground that is pleasing to all the parties involved. Slide 7. Ditchburn is a city of great pride. It is our duty to take care of our citizens and provide the best services possible. We do not discriminate in job assignments as we put our employees in positions that have the most need. We do not enable discriminatory bias that will hinder opportunities for work development and advancement. Our next issue of concern is seniority. As our past actions have proven, junior employees have been promoted over senior employees because of specific positional needs. As we always consider seniority when making decisions, we must prioritize the matters individually. Our number one concern is to protect our city and the citizens that reside here. Mr. Oberdors is demonstrating a lack of concern and commitment that is required from all of our employees. Nothing is more dangerous to public welfare than to admit that hired servants of the state can dictate to the government the hours, the wages, and conditions under which they will carry on essential services vital to the welfare, safety, and security of the citizen. The transfer of Mr. Oberdors is to ensure the welfare, safety, and security of all the citizens of Ditchburn. Slide 8. It is with great hope that Mr. Oberdors will complete the assignment as requested. If Mr. Oberdors cannot satisfy his duties, we will be forced to discharge him from our employment. Mr. Oberdors' actions can be deemed as insubordinate for the following reasons. He understood the order was not illegal, the order was important, and he was required to comply with the order because it was within the scope of his job. Mr. Oberdors knows what the problem is, he knows his job could be in jeopardy, and has been given an opportunity to continue to work. We must emphasize that he is part of a team that relies heavily on his capabilities. If he cannot continue to act as part of the team, we will need to seek other avenues that comply with the city's policies. Slide 9. It is not our goal or intention to stifle the positional progression of Mr. Oberdors. In an effort to show good faith, we are prepared to increase Mr. Oberdors' hourly wage to compensate for any inconvenience the temporary position has placed on him. This wage increase will continue until the replacement or completion of the assignment. We value Mr. Oberdors as he has proven to be a loyal and reliable employee in past years. Additionally, we will continue to look for a temporary replacement for the 6-month duration so that Mr. Oberdors will be able to return to his normal work shift as soon as possible. Until a replacement can be found, we expect that Mr. Oberdors will fulfill his obligations that are required to perform his job as effectively as possible. Slide 10. Our goal is to provide the best service we can to the city of Ditchburn. We want to continue to have a cohesive relationship with our community, the employees, and management. Some may be asked to make sacrifices along the way, but at the end of the day, we are all on the same team. It is our duty to help others through our service and communication.